Calibrating cybernetics.
Talk to him now.
AT, Andre,
Come on, Dre.
yep. Trippin with Let's Go. Woo! Trippin with Theobold.
What's your name?
Theo so bold.
Yeah.
Driggity. Let's go. Trippin with Theobold. Trippin.
What are we doing?
Trippin with Theobold.
Come on, Dre.
Yo. Hey, and welcome to another episode of Trippin with Theobold. I'm your host, Andre Theobold. Welcome to the show. Glad you could tune in. Welcome to Theobold Studios, where we do it ourselves, aka do it yourself productions. Before we go any further, make sure you guys hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, tell a friend to tell a friend, and do all that fun internet stuff like the old people say. Yeah, so before we get started, you know how we do over here in Trippin with Theobold land. We got to get started with the tongue twisties. You know what I'm saying? We got to get the brain and the tongue coordinated so there'll be less trippage on the show. So let's get to it. So today's tongue twisties or tongue twisty. I don't know. I can never say that right. Is it tongue twisties or tongue twist? Whatever. You get the point. But today's tongue twisty is brought to you by the letter Z. Z as in easy. So as you guys know, you can either read along with me or you can watch me struggle. The choice is yours. You always have a choice over here in Trippin with Theobold land. So let's go ahead and get to it. Number one. Zygmunt Zane zigzagged through the zany zoo zone. Oh, that's a tricky one. I almost fumbled that. Almost Tiki Barbered that. Well, Tiki Barber, okay, you guys, I'm not going into all that football reference. Here we go. Number two, second time. Or number one, second time. Zygmunt Zane zigzagged through the zany zoo zone. Last time. Zygmunt Zane zigzagged through the zany zoo zone. Number two. Zany. What is Zany? All this Zany talk. Okay, well, Zany's is the name of a comedy club. I should know. Maybe I need to take an action item. As they say in engineering, I got to take an action item to look up what Zany means. But I think Zany's with his E-Y, Z-A-N-E-Y with the whatever. Here we go. Number two. Number 2-1. First time. Zany zebra zipped a zillion zippers. Zany zebra zipped a zillion zippers. Last time. Zany zebra zipped a zillion zippers. And third tongue twisty. First time. Here we go. Zach, I think that should be Keenan. Maybe, I don't know. We're just going to read it. Zach Keenan zipped and zoomed through the zany zoo. That may be Zach Zenon. We're going to say Zenon. Zach Zenon zipped and zoomed through the zany zoo. All this zoo talk. Well, what other words begin with the letter Z? I should probably just look it up in the dictionary, right? Here we go. Zach Zenon zipped and zoomed through the zany zoo. And yay, tongue twisties are done. Got those all worked out. So, yeah. So this is a kind of a new segment to the show. New segment. I'm always adding and tweaking stuff. Man, my nose hair, man, sorry about that. No, I'm not picking my nose. Just I got every time I start talking sometimes, man, my this pod, my nose hairs be heckling me, man. Like all day my nose hairs was just chilling. Now, okay, enough of my nose hairs. But this is a kind of a, as they say in the engineering world, this is a dovetail, right? Something that kind of fans off, you know, engineering. In the engineering world, we make up all types of, you know, BS words and terminology. But anyways, this is a segment of the show. We're still tripping in thought, but I'm going to trip in thought about my engineering experiences, right? I'm a comedian and an engineer. I had a word I was gonna blend in. Comedianeer. That doesn't even make sense. Anyways, yeah, engineering and comedy, rare combination. But I have a lot of, man, I was like, man, I got a lot of stories, man. A lot of just engineering stories. And the reason why I'm doing these engineering stories, man, is because in the engineering world, we do this thing called lessons learned, you know? And I'm not sure if I'm gonna call this like lessons learned or engineering tales, but in the engineering world, we have this term called lessons learned. And basically what happens is you get through the project, right? You like struggle through a project. And when you get done struggling through a project, you have a lessons learned document where you document all the things that you could have done different that you ain't gonna do, right? It's a bullshit document. It's just something to make us feel good. You know, it's a warm fuzzy, another engineering term, you know, it's a warm fuzzy, just makes you feel good. But nah, so this is kind of a play off of that. I might just call this like lessons learned, you know, but I have to kind of explain what lessons learned meant or means. So yeah, so today's engineering tale or lessons, I'm not sure I'm going to call it yet, but today's engineering tale or lessons learned is entitled Bridging the Gap Between Africans and African Americans, right? Or just bridging the gap for short, right? So let me go ahead and get situated right quick. I mean, I'm already situated. That's when to make sure I'm most situated. Right. So here we go. Let me go ahead and make sure I'm all set and ready to go. What do I want to pull up? I wanted to pull up. Let me pull up this. Okay, boom. There we go. Boom, like my Uncle Sammy would say. R.I.P. Okay, move this over here. Yeah, so lessons learned, bridging the gap. I mean, lessons learned, engineering tales, bridging the gap between Africans and African Americans. So here's what I'm tripping on today. I'm tripping on the difference of how foundational Black Americans, aka, so if you don't know what a foundational Black American is, a foundational Black American is a Black American who can trace either through his parents, either through his, a foundational Black American is a Black American who can trace their lineage back to antebellum slavery through either parent, right? Either or both parents, right? So for example, I'm an FBA, you know, like my mom's side is, you know, we can trace, really my grandma's grandma was a slave. So, you know, we can trace that back. But anyways, so I don't consider myself African American, you know, I just don't. I mean, it's not accurate. So when people say I'm African American, I make sure I correct them. I say, no, I'm an FBA. I'm a foundational Black American. There's a distinction, you know. Elon Musk is more African American than me, you know, because he's from Africa and he immigrated over. Okay, I'm getting off topic. But anyways, the thing I'm tripping on is the difference on how FBAs or foundational Black Americans got treated versus Africans in a predominantly white institution, aka PWI, right? So I'm looking at my engineering schooling in a PWI, my PWI engineering program, and I'm looking at how, or I'm recanting or analyzing, recanting how FBAs got treated different from Africans in the PWI. So it was very interesting, man. We had this, I remember, here's the thing. I think I was either a sophomore or I think I was a sophomore when I was in college at this PWI. And excuse me. And I remember we had a panel discussion that was called Bridging the Gap Between Africans and African Americans. Like, I was like, what is, and I never heard of that, you know? Bridging the gap between Africans and African Americans. And I remember thinking to myself when I first got there, when I was in college, you know, or when I was going to this like panel discussion, I was thinking to myself, I was like, bridging the gap between Africans. I'm like, wait a minute, I ain't know there was no gap. You know, I thought I was their brother and they were my brothers. You know, but there was this one African classmate of mine that like stood up in this panel discussion, and he said some shit that confirmed the gap. Man, this dude just stood up proud and said, "We African brothers were brought here to show you American brothers the light. We African brothers were brought here to show you how you are supposed to behave and act." He said, "You see, my young American brothers, you guys got away from us many, many years ago. And that is why we are here to bring you back within our guiding light to show you how you are supposed to behave and act." And I thought to myself, motherfucker got away. I'm like, didn't y'all sell us? So that's when I realized, okay, there's a gap here, you know, like there's a gap. I'm like, man, okay, there's a gap on all sides. So the funny thing, man, about my experience at this PWI, you know, predominantly white institution, was basically if your last name ended in like Babatunde or Olawale, the professors at this PWI treated you with reverence. Like there was a respect factor, you know? Like I felt like, you know, or not felt like, what I observed is they were being talked to, you know? But if your last name was Jones or Smith, you got talked at, you know? And it was real, man. It was real interesting now that I look back on it, you know? Like all the professors at this PWI, or the majority of them, who were non-black, you know, for the most part, like every time they talked to FBA engineering students, it was like they smell shit. You know, like when they come around, like if we have a question, even if we come humbly and respectfully or respectful, it's, they get this look, they get this smell look, like they smell shit, you know? And like sometimes I'd be like, man, do I like damn, do I gotta like stink? Like, man, do I stink? Like, nigga, do I gotta put on some, just that little smirk, that little like, man, like what, like it's like they was act like they smelled shit while they were talking at us as opposed to talking to us, you know? And the attitude was always like, you know, what do you want? Why are you here? Huh? Like just what? Like, you know, what do you want? You know, like that was the attitude. You know, I remember I had there was a chair of our engineering department. When I remember when I met him, I never met him. Well, when I first became known of him, like this was like before I even enrolled into the university. Like everything was positive and he was selling everything, and oh man, we're working on all these great new things and all these new whiz bang electronics, and we're working on all this stuff. And his energy and his attitude is what is in part what drew me to the university, you know? But when I actually got into the school and when I enrolled and started taking classes there, he just had a look like, man, like every time I came around him, it's like he just smelled shit, you know, just, it was that what do you want attitude, huh? So I remember, man, my chair had this checklist, you know, because there was a time in school like, freshman year, I killed freshman year. Freshman year, I was doing like really well in all my classes. But when I started the engineering program, I remember, when I actually got into the meat of my courses, it was a dogfight, I started off, like I said, I would get C's, and if you got C's in classes, or if you were like, if you got like C's or below in your classes, you had to go see the chair, the chair of the engineering department. And he always had this condescending ass checklist, man. He would go to his filing cabinet and pull it out, and he would be like, he would just be like, hey Andre, like, yeah, what's like, hey, why are you getting C's? Huh? Like, what's going on? And he had that shit face look, and the checklist would be like, he would say, okay, so he'd be like, okay, are you doing any drugs? I'm like, drugs? No, I'm not doing any drugs. No, I'm not doing that. All right. And then he checked the box off. Are you having problems with alcohol? Like, do you drink? I'm like, nah, I don't drink at all. Like, nah, I'm fine. No. Okay, check that. Okay, okay, do you have a job? Are you working jobs? I'm like, yeah, I mean, I have to drive the temple. Oh, yeah, I have to drive the shuttle. I have to drive the shuttle around campus, to make some money to help pay for books and stuff, No, okay. Do you have any kids, or do you have anyone or is your girlfriend pregnant? Like, it was a real derogatory ass list. And I'm sitting there like, motherfucker, no, I'd be like, yo, the problem is I'm taking 20 credits and I'm on the football team and I'm driving a shuttle, And then the funny thing is once I graduated from this university, they took what I did in 4 years and they made it a 5-year program. So it wasn't the checklist, it wasn't me. It was the program was just too condensed. They tried to cram too much shit into 4 years. But anyways, I'm not complaining. But that checklist was just very derogatory, you know what I'm saying? So I'm getting a little off topic. But the funny thing is I remember there were times when I would either go ask a question or talk to a professor and they'd have like a shit-faced grin, or like they act like they smell shit when they saw me. But when they got done talking to me and an African student came up, the shit face would just go away, Like, that was really interesting to me, That's what I'm tripping on. Like, what did I do? But nah, man, we had like a lot of brilliant FBA students in like my school, like the upperclassmen that I went to school with, like, for example, man, like Calvin Boyd, Mouse, Jason, Alex Camps, brilliant, man. These dudes, man. And it was a pleasure to like work with them and to study with them. They were real cool, real diligent, and we all like cared about the work. We weren't there just to get a grade or to get passed on. Like, we really cared about what it is we were doing, But I remember, like, whenever they would go around the teachers or we go around a teacher, you would just watch kind of their body language kind of drop. Like, oh, okay, I got to go talk to this professor, and, it just looked real awkward, It just looked real awkward, So that's what I'm tripping on, man. Like, I'm trying to figure out, like, was this common, or is this common at all PWIs, or am I tripping? You know what I mean? Put it in the comment section. Let me know. Is all this talk just hogwash? If you're a non-black professor, do you or have you seen this? And if so, what's your explanation for it? Because it's real fascinating. It's like it's very fascinating. Like, they need to like do a study where they have students go to a university and You have African students and then FBA students, and then you have the students like swap last names, and then you just go and then they monitor how they treat the students. Like, is it something inherent that's tied to the last name of the FBA or African student, or is it a look, or is it an energy, or is this all in my head? Am I the only one that sees this? Everybody chime in. What are your thoughts? What are your questions? Give me some feedback. Let me know what you're thinking, because I want to get to the bottom of this. Like, I want to really I might do a research paper on this and publish this. This is very fast. Or does this go on outside of engineering? Is it a commonly wide thing across all industries and all studies? Let me know what your thoughts are. Let me know. So, before I go any further, make sure you guys hit the like button, hit that subscribe button, tell a friend to tell a friend, do all that fun internet stuff. And like I said, put your thoughts in the comments, man. Let's have a conversation about this. Also, AT is where it's at on most forms of social media, so you can follow me. But what are your thoughts? Let me know. I want to get to the bottom of this. I said that twice. Okay, one time too many. Anywho, that does it for me in today's episode of Trippin with Theobold. Let me know what's going on. Holla at me. So that's all I got to say on this. So without further ado, I'm out of here, folks. Peace. Yep. Trippin with Theobold.
Let's go.
Caliente.
Trippin. Yep. Trippin. Trippin. Trippin with Theobold.
Trippin with Theobold.